Today, each of us will talk about 3 positive changes that the relationship brought out of us. Hi guys, welcome back to the Twalkers. Here we share fun stories from our daily life. Like last time, I don't know what 3 things he has picked and he doesn't know what 3 things I have. So let's find out.
So last time we talked about 3 things that has helped our relationship for the better, and this time we chose to go a bit more inward. So being in a relationship for the long time, what usually happens is things get transpired. Things that I did, she would end up doing, and things that she did, I would end up doing. So today we'll talk about 3 positive changes that happened in us as part of the relationship. So let's get into it. So what's your first one?
First change was that because you be with other person and it's not just you in the life anymore, you have other person and their life is connected with you, you start getting the understanding about others' perspective. So I feel by being in a relationship with you for such a long time, I have learned to see from other person's perspective and also try to or learn to interpret what's going on in other person's mind and tackle the situation that way. So I think it's a very positive thing that I'm able to understand the other person, not just you but others as well, at work or at home, in the family, in the friends, and through that I think I can have better conversations with people. So I think that would be my first point.
So my first one and my biggest one was learning to be more patient. So previously I was just on my own and I would just do things when I wanted, how I wanted. And now, with you coming in, it was, I had to, anywhere we go, it was going together and doing things together. So all of a sudden, I realized that, how long it takes.
You had to wait.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I think that has helped me a lot in finishing a lot of TV series. No, but I think even generally in life, I've become more patient. Have more patience with people, with things. Even while I'm doing it, I'm not in a rush anymore. So yeah, I think that has been the biggest change in me because of you. So thank you. So what's your second one?
It's funny because my second one is actually related to your first one, and that is that I kind of learned to focus on what's actually important or what's more important. So the thing you talked about, that if you have to go somewhere and you have to wait, so I learned from that experience that it's not worth to spend so much time before going somewhere, in getting ready or something, rather than you would just get there and enjoy.
So focus on the experience. Yeah, don't lose out on the experience. Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's kind of opposite.
Yeah.
That, I learned to speed up, but it's not just speeding up, but it's also understanding the importance of what actually matter than other less important things.
Nice. Yes. Yeah, it's pretty much the opposite, as you said.
And what's your third one then?
So my second one is I've learned to be more considerate. I've built more empathy. I've learned to see things from a more emotional perspective. I think men generally are not same emotional creatures as women are. So I think that was probably lacking because I was living on my own before that for a while as well. So I think that emotional understanding or emotional perspective when we started living together, I initially didn't get a lot of things you said, and I think with time I have started to understand the emotional value of activities or things. So I think that's the biggest one for me. And yeah, I think it's just made me like yeah, I mean, it's made me a better human, I guess, because it helps me understand the emotional aspects of not just you, but many other people around me. And again, it's probably makes you more calmer, because earlier I could remember that, if people would get too emotional, I would get confused, and yeah, it would be just for me too hard to understand where all these emotions are coming from, or where all these emotions are. But now I at least understand it better, and I think it's changed the way I make decisions generally in life. It's not just what's the right thing to do. It's just not mind. It's mind and heart both, and finding a balance in between. So yeah, that's my second one. So,
That's nice. And it's funny actually because yes, I was and I have been an very emotional person, but sometimes just out of emotions you waste a lot of time on something, or you invest a lot of time and energy in something which could be done in a better way if you look at it from a logical point of view. Not necessarily you are being not emotional, but you are doing that thing in a better way. And I learned that from you actually, that not to waste time in certain things, not to hoard a chocolate wrapper, but take a picture instead, make a nice collage out of it, and then let go of the chocolate wrapper, but you have the memory of it.
Yeah, moment captured.
So yeah, so I think I learned that from you, and that has helped me to preserve my emotional moments, but in a more efficient way. So I think we both also had an exchange there as well. So that's really interesting.
Was that your point, or was that?
No, it's just
okay,
addition to your point.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's two similar things then.
No.
So what's your final one?
So my final one is you learn to take responsibility of yourself and the partner. So when you get in a long relationship, or you move in with someone, or get married or something, you move out of your parents, and so you are on your own. You have to take your responsibility, your partner's responsibility, and that's in a way adulting. But in my case, that came through the relationship. So be it like, if there's a wedding coming up, planning of a wedding dresses, or planning dinner, house, of course. So all of those things which
the room,
yeah, of course. So all of those things that require your attention, and that used to be taken care of your parents or someone else before, but now you're on your own, or you two are on your own. And as you get married, you kind of overnight expected to behave like an adult in some ways, and react upon certain expectations. So I think all those I've learned from our long relationship, and that has made me more independent, more confident, and I know how to translate what we want into actual reality. So I think, yeah. So what's your final one then?
So my final one is, I think, the biggest shift that I had in my life in terms of the approach towards life and how I approached it. Before you came into life, my life was pretty much about work, progression, job, doing this, working with startup, or trying to create something. So a lot of my time, energy, and investment was all towards that. And I think once you came into my life, that started shifting, and I see it as a good thing. And what started happening is I kind of came out of the rat race, and because I saw you as a very happy, joyous person, which you are, I started realizing that I need to start living more in the present, start living more in the now. So I changed a lot of those things after we got together, in terms of the job, in terms of how I do my job, how I approach it. And that has been the biggest change, where again, I think the reason we are able to do this is I'm not in my own cocoon and in my own world. I've started thinking wider. I've started thinking more in the now. I've stopped creating infinite or trying to work on 50 different things, which all of them might not lead to anywhere, because it's just your mind doing its running. So it has made me more focused, more calmer. So yeah, I think that has been the biggest change, where I've stopped being in that rat race and just started being here now. So thank you for that.
Oh, well, I am flattered, but you're just giving me a lot of credit. I think it was a lot of your thinking and understanding and doing as well. So it's not just me, but
yeah, and I think with any of the things you mentioned or I'm mentioning, I think it's true in some ways, that that the three things you mentioned that you've changed within yourself, three things I've mentioned is what I've changed in myself actively, right? We change these things actively in a positive way, for a better life. So the point with that is that me coming into your life, or you coming into my life, was the instigator, was the thing that ignited it, right? The doing part, the putting into practice part will always be the individual. You would be the one changing yourself, I would be the one changing myself. But if there was no spark, there would be no fire.
Yeah.
If there was no instigation, that thing wouldn't happen. So I think if there's no seed, there's no tree or the plant. So I think that's why it's, I give that credit to you.
yeah, no, I know it also depends upon how you choose to react to something, right? That, if you have to be really open to the difference that you face within each other. And it's funny that we were talking about it this evening, that before getting in a relationship, I didn't know some qualities of myself, which I kind of discovered because I was put in this situation, in this relationship. And I think same was with you as well. So I think, and then God's grace, we were open enough to understand the differences and embrace it and change ourselves or the situations, or tackle the situations. So I think it also depends upon how people react to certain situation as well.
Yeah, and I think whenever all of a sudden you're living with a person 24/7, it will bring things to surface in you that you might not have expected. And I think we both face that. And
good and bad.
Good and bad, yeah. And that's a good thing. I see it as a good thing, because sometimes if you're not pushed, you don't realize where the gaps are.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think that's a good thing in terms of bringing about that change. And I think the doors really, just adding to that point as well, doors started opening when there was less ego involved, where you could be honest with me and I could be honest with you without worrying about what the other person thinks, because it's hard to trust. It's that trust builds over time. So I think soon as we started building that trust, that ego against each other at least starts fading away. And then that's where you start seeing different perspective, and then that's where the change happens because of the other person.
Yeah, so when you're open and flexible, that's where I think positive changes take place.
Yeah, it should. And I think that's a good way to end the episode now. So I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation.
We're gonna be back with another episode next week.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
And comment and let us know what changes you have brought in yourself after being in a long relationship.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.